considering classical music in Nigeria, we discovered that it's not all that loved as we have it in abroad. So I just want to ask, what can we do to improve the classical music in Nigeria, especially when you compare it with what is obtained abroad, e.g., King's College London?
And by that, I think that you are talking about not necessarily classical music. Maybe you are talking about choral music. There's a difference. The choral music is the church music. Choral tradition, religious music, the choral tradition of choir singing and stuff. Yeah, I think over there too, especially in the light of the pandemic, you will discover that a lot of choirs are, especially in the UK, almost been decimated. And recently they had to do something where all the organists of the major cathedrals played a bit of Bach's toccata in D minor. Well, the organist of St. Paul's Cathedral, Mr. Simon Johnson, who incidentally was here a few years ago, played the opening bell, pa 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 pa. Then the organist of Westminster Abbey, and then all the cathedrals and stuff like that, because they have not had the opportunity of, you see, and the way they look at music and choral music is different to how we look at it here, and the role of the cathedral. Let's look at the cathedral, for instance. For you, a cathedral is still, your cathedral is still a parish church. It's just there. It's just sitting down here. There's nothing. Over there is different. The cathedral is almost like the center of the city. So say, for instance, St. Paul's Cathedral. There would normally be a recital, maybe at lunchtime, or maybe one a week. Then the music of, and you're looking at how many years have we been in existence? To the number of years they've been in existence. So the length of time of their own tradition is more than anything that we are doing here. Then, of course, there are many people who like it and have put in trust funds to make sure that it happens. So if you go to St. Martin's in the Fields, that's the church by Trafalgar Square, for instance, it has a tradition of encouraging music. It has its own choir, the St. Martin's in the Fields choir. Then it has its own, I've forgotten the correct word, or the correct phrase to describe that choir. My father, when my father was in England, was a member of that choir from the 50s. I do remember that when he came to see me in school, in boarding school when I was in England, he was invited for lunch. He was invited to come and preach in our chapel's choir. And then my housemaster came in for dinner, or the lunch, and with a tie. As soon as my father saw it, my father said to him, St. Martin's in the Fields. The man was shocked, because he was the one that told me the story. My father never told me the story. The man was shocked. How do you know? I said, yes, I was in the choir up until 1961. You know, and he came to me, he said, I wouldn't have believed that somebody from Nigeria would have been a member of the choir of St. Martin's. Not the usual regular choir, there's a particular choir that they have. Then they have their own symphony orchestra and all that. And then they encourage music. And recordings take place in that place. Most choirs from all over the world will come and record there. I do remember also that in the 90s I lived in the vicarage of one church called All Saints Church, Franciscan Road in Tooting. And somebody in his will gave the church about 50 to 100,000 pounds to fix the pipe organ. And that pipe organ was wonderful. Wow. He could, if you stood under the loft, towards the vestry, you stood under the loft away, you could hear all the actions going on. You could hear everything. The sound was glorious. And one of the beautiful things about it was that, living in that vicarage, was that for the months that I lived there, it was free music. Why did choirs were coming from Germany, the rest of Europe, to come and record there. Then they will, on Sunday, after we finish service, we clear everything, then they bring the stage. The church was making income. It was a quiet location. The church was making money. So if you ask a Nigerian choir that has a pipe organ like this one, how often do you maintain it? That's the question. You see now, when they just tell you that when people haven't eaten, you say that we should maintain a pipe organ. The church has not paid assessment. Then you say pipe organ. Yes, in England, the churches don't pay money. They don't contribute money like we do. They don't. If you go for church service, what you hear they're passing the offering around, especially in the cathedrals where you have visitors, you'll be hearing coins dropping, clackam, clackam, clapam. You will hardly have notes. A friend of mine I took a friend, when I say friend, much older, and we went to worship in Westminster Abbey, and he hadn't worshipped there before, so I took him there to go and worship. So he found out that he enjoyed the music. You have to worship the music, the tonation of the voice is beautiful. And when he dropped his offering, we sat in one place. So when I left, he went back the following week, sat there, and he dropped his offering, which was notes. Everybody else was dropping. I think he said 20 pounds or 40 pounds he would drop. So after the second time, the man that collected the money said, I hope you are coming back next week. You know? So the way they do it is that most in Nigeria, people give money while they are alive. Over there, it is when they are going, they can bequeath millions of pounds and say that take. And then with the lottery, the part of the lottery that they do, national lottery, there's a heritage fund, what they give to the heritage, to the arts. So there's a fund that you can draw on, you apply for. So for instance, you would service your organ maybe once a month or once a year if you're lucky, or maybe once in 2 years. You take it for granted that it will work. For those organs in UK, especially because of a company that I've become close to, which is Harrison and Harrison, they have people around London, the southeast area. It's a company based in Durham, but they have people there whose job it is. The organ of St. Paul's in the Westminster Abbey, the reeds are tuned every week, every 2 weeks. They go there, they tune. The choir, the organ in the Westminster Cathedral, the Roman Catholic Cathedral, every 2 weeks they are tuned. Because somebody's giving a recital, people are coming. People are coming, people are knowing the church, and they make money from them. From, not necessarily entrance money, but you'll find that later on they're also friends of St. Martin's, friends of this, friends of that, and those are the ones, they go back to their country in America and they fund these things. But we still look at our churches, we call it cathedral, but most cathedrals, the organ will sound on Sunday evening, that's the end. Nothing again. It's not supposed to be like that. It takes investment. It takes money. But other things are competing for it. So that is why we cannot get to that level yet. It's going to be a reorientation. In those days, we couldn't play football. Even those who were talented could not play football. They say, go and read your books. Until some people started playing Golden Eagles, one World Cup. And they say that from that game, you can get a house and all that kind of. So perception started to change. Even when you talk about music, you go to Ajegula in those days, he's able to go and study. But now people can do music, reggae and all that kind of thing. Things are changing. Maybe not too soon for us. It's the same thing for the church. When you are struggling to pay assessment, how do you want to now fix the organ? But sometimes you don't know that all these things work together. The Bible says it works together for good for them. And if you maintain the organ, then it lasts longer. Look at this one now. It was installed in 1956. It's pipe organ. If it were a digital organ, it would have died. They would have taken it out since. But this one definitely needs help. The console needs to be replaced. Wiring needs to be replaced. A lot of things. So we are just managing it as it is. But it is money.
Thank you, sir.
I've spoken too much, I think.
God will definitely help us in all ramifications in Africa.